going on YouTube? It is your boy Trev. I have been trying to make heads or tails of this KYC debate. I thought it was settled. Nothing is ever settled in LUNC, which is another issue altogether. I'm going to kind of look at a couple things, right? I still have not made up my mind which way I actually feel about this. I feel like there are decent arguments on both sides. I don't know how valid any of the arguments are, or how much they are just, I don't know, opinion, or I don't know. We'll get into it, right? I'm going to try not to go off on a tangent on this one because it really just exemplifies what I've been saying about needing some sort of steering committee or advisory committee that would lay out a plan, and then that is the plan. If we all agree, by voting them in, we all agree that whatever plan they come up with, that is the plan we're going to follow, regardless of what other ideas come up here and there every 3 months, every 6 months. We have to stay on one path. If we don't stay on one path, we just keep going on in circles, which is what we've done for nearly 3 years. This whole debate really just it points out why, to me, something like this is necessary. And I guess I was going to say I wasn't going to go off on a rant, but there it was, right? I'm going to try not to do that anymore. I really want to look at a couple things regarding this KYC, and then I'm hoping in the comment section that you will point out some things to me maybe that I don't know, some facts, okay? I'll tell you right now, I don't want to hear opinions based on I like this one, I don't like that one, this is what this one said, this is what that one said. Come with receipts. Explain to me in an intelligent way why you have the perspective that you have, and tell me, well, because this is what happened over there and this is the outcome. Like I said, come with the receipts. But leave comments in the comment section. Listen, right now, like the video, all that kind of stuff. All right, let's get into it a little bit. So I'm gonna go over here to Ping Pub, just to kind of look at some governance stuff. So right now, we have being voted on this remove the KYC proposal 12033, and we see this very, very often, too often, with Terra Classic, that will vote something in, and then sometimes a matter of weeks, but usually a matter of months later, we see another proposal come up to try to turn that original one around. And that's what's going on right now. Where are we on this one, by the way? So, it looks like we're headed toward voting to get rid of this one that we kind of just voted in, right? So let me go back a little bit. So it was 12033, and let's go back to it. So we have to go back 6 months to find 12033, and this was the proposal that passed. Barely, okay, but it passed, for compulsory KYC for all L1 developers, and I just want to go through some of this quickly. Third-party KYC is set to become compulsory for all developers who create code for the chain. Currently, anybody can supply code anonymously, posing a serious risk to the blockchain. So this was the premise by which this was put out, is that developers writing code for the chain with impunity, no way to get at them if they do something that is malicious or whatever. That's a risk. And okay, good premise. Examples: a Trojan could be inserted to compromise the chain. Deliberate harm could be inflicted to take advantage of a short position. This initiative aims to provide the community, investors, and utility providers with confidence that we do not have completely anonymous development teams working on the chain. Very many believed that this was directly aimed at the rabbit guys. I'm sorry, and this is not meant to be disrespectful, but I just have an old brain that doesn't remember things all the time. Moon rabbit. This was directly aimed at them because they are not doxxed, are not KYC'd. We don't know who they are. They've never shown their face. They won't even put their voices on a space or anything. They maintain absolute anonymity. And that's one thing. Other people have done that. But they've rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And so the tinfoil hat brigade, as some call it, will begin to surmise, okay, who are these guys? Are they TFL operatives? Are they, what is their actual intention? So I understand when you keep that kind of anonymity and then you say you want to work on the chain, I understand how that could potentially raise some suspicion. And then when you haven't necessarily been the nicest people, that could really get some people up in arms. But do you make a proposal, or do you pass governance specifically to keep particular people out? That goes a little far. That harkens back to when they tried to ban Alex from even making proposals on LUNC. Not only that, but part of the argument on them, and I am going off on a little bit of a tangent with this, right? Part of the argument with them was that they had never actually done anything on the chain. They had never written any code. And nobody knew all these things they were proposing that they would do. Nobody even knew if they could do or if they knew how to do, right? So if that's the case, then why are you so up in arms? Like, if you think that these guys are all talk and really can't even produce anything, what was this actually for? Okay, and a lot of people feel that this proposal was basically to keep them out. Okay, I'm sure other people will argue that that's not what it was for, and then the proposal itself argues that that's not what it's for. It gives other reasons, but that's kind of what it was. Now these guys, they put together a roadmap, and I reviewed it. I did a whole video on it, and I was quite honest about it, even though I didn't have the greatest feeling about some of these people. The roadmap was legit. It made a lot of really good points. It was very well done, very professionally done. All the things that we probably really needed were encompassed in this roadmap. It was a good job. They even said they didn't want any money from the community, that they would finance it all themselves. So there wasn't a lot to complain about. It really came down to who liked these guys, who didn't like these guys, and that kind of was on them for kind of treating people the way they have treated people. It's fine to have opinions on things. It's fine to disagree, but there's kind of a professional and way with some etiquette to kind of get those points across without really being rude and abrasive to people, which is what sometimes they did. But anyway, that's, the tangent on them. This was basically to prevent them. I really don't care what anybody says. I'm pretty sure that's what it was all about. Okay, so where was I? This initiative aims to provide the community, investors, and utility providers with confidence that we do not have completely anonymous development teams working on the chain. It assures that legal recourse would be available if necessary, with details accessible only through the correct legal channels. Arrangements have been made with a third-party company, Solid Proof, to perform KYC at a cost of $100 per developer. That's very reasonable. Okay. Each developer will be responsible for making contact with Solid Proof, payment, and completion of the KYC process, obtaining confirmation from Solid Proof before any code is merged. An agreement has been made for all personal details to remain confidential, with only the screen name being disclosed. It is the responsibility of the developer to clarify that their KYC is for the Luna Classic chain, with all details to be kept confidential except the screen name. Solid proof requirements. This tells basically what they will need in order to give the KYC certificate, and what they will provide. They'll provide a certificate, a badge for announcement, data store. So the storage of all your information is held offline and encrypted. So basically some efforts were made to compromise as well as possible for people who actually wanted to work on the chain, whether it was Moonrabbit or whoever, to say, okay, you want to work on the chain, go ahead and work on the chain, but we need to have your information because we don't know who you are. We really don't know your intentions. And should you do something that is malicious, we want to know how to go after you, because there are a lot of holders of LUNC and there's a lot of money involved, right? So it seemed reasonable. It did. Okay. So profile on Solid Proof essay or announcement across Solid Proof channels, including KYC certificate on GitHub using screen name only. Blah blah blah. It took about 2 days to complete the process. KYC will be required for all team members working on a layer 1 coding. So in other words, not just the person that is going to submit the code, but the whole team needed to be KYC'd. That might have come out of the Terraport situation, where we had people working on that there was apparently something malicious slid in somewhere, and they're still trying to figure out who it was and whatever. But if there's one bad apple on the team, they could slide something in that maybe nobody catches. Okay, let me see. Proposal working on KYC. All right, KYC required on all team members, regardless of whether paid through a community spend proposal or working on a voluntary basis. Again, I mean, that directly kind of went to what Moonrabbit said, that, oh, we don't even need money from you. Well, they made sure that they put in here that was not going to be a loophole, that whether you were on voluntary basis, paying for it yourself or whatever, you had to KYC. No pull requests to be submitted without KYC. Only governance pass KYC providers will be recognized for this process. To add an additional third-party, so if you wanted someone other than Solid Proof, they would have to go through governance. I don't want to, all right, so these were the concerns that this apparently addressed. I don't want to be doxxed. It poses a serious risk to myself and my family, which is valid. So it says this is not doxing. No personal details will be made public. Okay. KYC goes against the fundamental crypto spirit. Well, no, it doesn't. Research on the top 20, this is important to me. Research on the top 20 crypto projects shows that all developers are either KYC'd, fully doxed, or, and this was something that kind of comes into play now, or have an extremely robust review process for third-party developer code. Luna Classic is in a fairly unique situation without the teams in place for thorough code review. A KYC process would provide some level of accountability, right? That opened a little bit of a door for something that we have now. We'll talk about that in a second. This will limit the devs available. To work on the chain. Great. We only require professional developers who should have no problem with a simple KYC process. There is no reason not to KYC unless there is malicious intent. Many developers have publicly stated they would be happy to KYC, including Genuine Labs, which I believe did, Tax to Gas team, and others who have already completed KYC. It is a legitimate point that it only costs $100. It's not cost prohibitive. None of your information gets out or goes anywhere. It stays with the third-party provider. I mean, why do you need to be that anonymous, right? If you're, maybe you want to be for whatever reasons, but if you're writing code on the chain, right? For Terra Classic, somebody should know who you are. I get that argument. I really do. I think it's a legitimate argument. Someone would be in charge of handling the coordinating of the KYC pipeline. No, they wouldn't. KYC would be directly between the developer and the third-party KYC, whatever. Okay. So basically, that was the proposal, and the proposal passed. It didn't pass resoundingly. 34, let's call it 35% yes, and just about 31 or 32% no, or no with veto if you add them up. But it was the abstains that helped this to reach quorum and put this past. Okay, so abstain is almost like, this is my opinion, abstain is basically like voting yes without voting yes, without getting your hands dirty, because you make sure that it passes quorum, and it's already passing, so it's kind of a political move. But anyway, that was the case with this particular proposal, and it passed. It passed 6 months ago. This has been the case for 6 months. But as I said, just wait, whatever the time is, and those other 30 whatever percent it was that did not like that, and the Moon Rabbit guys and the people who support them or whatever, just give them time, because this community has a very small memory, a very short memory of all the reasons why you passed this thing, right? Give it time, and you can resubmit a proposal, word it correctly, make everybody believe it's the best thing possible. That's what you have to do with a proposal. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, right? And then try to get it passed. So this one here is 6 months later. Let's remove it. And currently we're looking at 38% yes, with 20% abstaining. It looks like we're headed toward passing this, okay? We did this with the tax, right? When Vegas's tax initially was implemented, what was it, 1.2% or whatever it was? I don't even remember. It was years ago at this point. It's weird to say that. It passed, and it went for a little while, and then some people said, well, this is killing the volume on the chain. We got to get rid of it. And these are the people that didn't like it to begin with. So they submitted another proposal. They convinced everybody that this was the problem. This is why the volume was dropping so much on Luna Classic. And so they reversed it, and they got rid of the tax. Well, what did you find out? The volume didn't even come back up. So that wasn't what was keeping the volume. So we keep going back and forth. Let's try this for a little while, and we really don't like it. We want to change it again. Okay, well, let's change it. Let's go back, and we do this. We go back and forth, back and forth. That's what we're doing here. Now, is it for valid reasons? I don't know. Let's read the. Let's actually read. Well, can we read the proposal? I guess we'd have to go over to Commonwealth to see what the proposal actually is. Which, well, whatever. We're here, and this is already a long one. So what the hell, right? Okay. Removal of the KYC. This proposal aims to remove the mandatory KYC requirement. Proposal 12-033 aimed to provide the community, investors, utility providers confidence that we do not have completely anonymous development teams working on the chain. Although it passed quite long ago, 6 months, there have been 0 investors and 0 utility providers flocking to LUNC as a result. Okay, this is a good point. And this is a question that I actually asked yesterday on X. I said, listen, give me reasons why, because some people are saying that for serious developers, serious projects to come to the chain, they're going to want to know that our developers who have written the code that they will be building on have been KYC'd. Well, this is pointing out that over the last 6 months, we adopted KYC, and people aren't flocking to us. It wasn't that. It wasn't the lack of KYC that kept people out. I mean, that doesn't really make me feel all that great either, but that's basically what they are letting you know, okay? All right, so it means that KYC in and of itself is not an attractive feature per se, and certainly not a confidence booster the Prop 12033 imagined it to be. Okay, so we tried it for 6 months. It didn't do what you said it was going to do. Let's get rid of it. Likewise, for the past 6 months, no additional increased development has taken place as well. As Genuine Labs, we're here. So Genuine Labs submitted this. I forgot to mention that. We're here before the, and they, I believe, did KYC, right? I'm sorry. Wait, maybe I'm wrong. All right, let me just keep going. As Genuine Labs were here before the KYC requirement came in effect, and we are certain their proposals would have been passed anyways, regardless of them being KYC'd, because they followed the PPJ procedure, according to which the team is being paid after the work is successfully done. While the LUNC community appreciates their efforts, they're still the only team working on LUNC, and they can only do so much. No new teams or individuals have voiced their willingness to join. And they're supposing that this is because they would have to KYC. And that this is where the issue for me comes in. All right. So they don't want to work on the chain because they have to KYC. We've already talked about, well, why not KYC? I mean, your information is not being released to the public. Nobody's going to be knocking on your door or coming after and harassing your family or any of those things. It is only there to protect the community and the chain against any malicious acts that you may want to put forth. But here was the other argument that was made that, again, flip-flops me and makes me think, okay, that makes sense. We have seen attack after attack by the SEC in the United States, and I don't know what else is going on out there in the world, but governments have come after crypto in a very big way. Terra Classic is, I don't know, kind of on the periphery, on the cusp. I mean, we've really skated by a lot of the attention of the SEC to some degree. Some say we haven't really skated by as much as you think. Just wait, right? But having the connection with Luna, the original Terra Luna, with the algorithm, the stable coin, with all those things, we're already trying to stay out of that, right? Trying to stay away from it because you just never know when they're going to come up with some crap and start going after people. So if you KYC, even though the public doesn't know anything about it, and they decide that they're coming after Terra Classic, they're coming after LUNC, and they want to know who's developing on this chain, they could potentially gain legal access to that information and go after the people who in good faith were just trying to work for the community, work on the chain, did what we asked, KYC'd, and now they're under a microscope. I get it. I get it. It's a very good argument on the other side, okay? So, just to finish this, a huge part of the LUNC revival is the USTC repeg. Some people say, forget it. You're never going to do that because that really puts us under a microscope. But some people are still pushing it again. That's another argument. As is very well known, many existing experts have quit their efforts for USTC repeg and are unwilling to continue whilst the KYC requirement is in place. Because, if, as I just said, if the government comes after you, they're coming after these people. They have their reasons, and we should be mindful of that. In addition, KYC also works as a deterrent for those who haven't previously worked on the chain, but may be willing to share their expertise and resources. Like it or not, this is the current reality on LUNC. Every second we spend on not pursuing the repeg and or looking for alternative routes for repeg, we are postponing the LUNC revival. In hindsight, vote for KYC in a way was a vote against the repeg efforts. That might be a little bit of a stretch. KYC or no KYC, repeg efforts have their own difficulties. And I think, and this is why I want you to get up in the comment section, I think that the government, let's say the SEC, If we were to put in a repeg using an algo, a stable coin, and the government said, "Oh, you're at that again? We already said no to your sister there. Why are you doing this?" And then they consider it to be malicious, or they consider it to be against rules that they've just put out there, and now they want to come out. They want to come after the developers who have done it. Not being KYC'd is not going to help you. If the government wants to find you, if the SEC wants to know who wrote that code, they're going to know. They're going to find you. They have their ways. If you think that not KYCing, that you can remain absolutely anonymous and just slither back under a rock if the SEC comes knocking and they'll never find you, you're out of your mind. They will absolutely find you, right? Through whatever, IP address, however they do it. I don't know. I'm not a technical guy. I just know you can't hide from them, right? So that really isn't a legitimate argument here. I keep going back and forth. I don't know. I'm going to need to hear some further arguments on this. Now, one of the other things that have come up that I said would kind of get to, KYC to not KYC, well, an option or an alternative that came up because the door was opened in the original proposal was that, well, if we had a group that maybe was KYC'd, right, that group could basically audit or review all of the code, whether it was put forth by someone who was KYC'd, not KYC'd, whatever, all the code that would come from anonymous developers, and assure the community and everyone that that code was safe, there was nothing malicious in it before it was implemented, right? So they would be in-house CERTIC or in-house auditors or whatever, okay? That was an option, and I believe that Genuine Labs has made that offer, but then Genuine Labs is working on the code. So how do you audit your own code? That poses some problems. So there was another person, and this came up in this this post here. As we all know, the issue of KYC has been a hot topic for some time. Personally, I've been a strong supporter of KYC and the security it brings, but I have also been open to the idea of modifying the KYC or even replacing it with something better. More information will come soon, but essentially Renzo has offered his company to review the code submitted by non-KYC developers. I don't know Renzo, but apparently, well, as it goes on to say, now for those of you who don't know Renzo, like me, he is a highly qualified and talented individual out of the United States who has worked quietly behind the scenes on many different projects. He is also well-versed in some of the issues that any project may face, especially with the SEC or other government agencies. Sounds great. Sounds great. I don't know that anybody, and I don't mean to be a negative Nancy, but I don't know that anybody is well-versed on the difficulties of the SEC as far as what could potentially happen with a repeg. Now, we've got some things to go by, what they've already done, and you know, TFL, you know, that whole legal process, and you know, so we know how they stand and how they feel about it. But whether or not Terra Classic can be lumped in with the decision that was made for Luna 2, right? TFL, Do Kwon, all that stuff. Whether or not it can be lumped in is a matter for a legal professional, a lawyer or a law firm to determine. I don't know that any, you know, unless this Renzo is that kind of attorney, being familiar with it, well, a lot of people can be familiar with what they've already done. We're kind of all familiar with what they've already done. What would happen should we decide to repeg? We need a law firm to decide that. This Renzo person, appreciate it, but I don't know how this person is qualified to do that. It says that he's highly qualified and talented individual. Okay. That's your opinion, and that opinion may be valid. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know him. A lot of people don't know him. So does Renzo KYC? Will he KYC? Or is he doxxed? Or will his entire company or whatever that he's offered to do these reviews, will they all KYC in order to do it? And if so, okay. What are they looking for money-wise to do this, to be our in-house auditors, reviewers? There's a lot of questions that come up. It could potentially be a good alternative, but now is Renzo and his company, are they willing to KYC, and are they willing to take the brunt if the SEC comes knocking? Should anybody even ever try to actually repeg or anything like that, or anything that they might think of that they want to complain about with the Terra Classic chain? Is this company going to be on the forefront and say, well, we're the ones who said that all of this was good to go, so I guess we're the ones you're going to come after? Are they willing to do that? I don't know. I mean, that would be cool, but it also, I think, might be a little crazy. So these are my dilemmas. And I really I go back and forth with it moment to moment as far as what exactly is the best course of action. What's the right way to go? To KYC, to not KYC? I haven't decided yet. But I can tell you that, let me go back over here for a minute. Today, currently it's 9:20 in the morning as I'm making this video and talking to you. That's Eastern time. At 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, Trader Rocco, AMA to discuss the latest KYC prop drama with special guests, jurists, and whoever else decides to drop in and offer their opinions. So there's going to be a space today at 2 p.m. Eastern time to talk about this stuff. I hope that there is actually some new information that can come out in this space. If this space is just a bunch of people reiterating their opinions on whether you should KYC, whether you should not KYC, that we've already heard a million times, it's not going to be productive. What I'm hoping for is that some people will come with receipts. We heard that the top 20 projects out there are KYC'd. That seems to say that it's a good idea, right? So that is kind of a receipt. That's what I'm looking for. To be able to show that this is what top projects do. They have KYC developers, right? But for those who say that having KYC will actually prevent people from coming, or not having KYC will actually prevent people from coming here, or that having KYC will help to bring people here, show the receipts. Say, this is what happened on this chain, right? They didn't have KYC, and this project wanted to come there, but they said, oh, your devs aren't KYC'd, we're not going to build there. Or the reverse, right? A particular chain, a particular project adopted KYC for all its developers, and so this big project came and that big project came and said, oh, all right, you're going to have KYC? All right, we'll build on you, right? Can you show that? Do you have those receipts? Because anything other than that is basically just you giving your opinion on what you think is going to happen because you have your preconceived notions and whatever perspectives on KYC. And that might be because you want Moonrabbit to come and work on the chain, right? Or maybe because you don't want Moonrabbit to come and work on the chain. Or anybody else. I'm just using them as an example because they've been used as an example for so many times, right? But there may be other people that you're a little iffy about working on the chain. Or people that you want to work on the chain. Whatever, right? Come with receipts. Please don't come with just opinions that are biased for those reasons that I just stated. That's not going to be helpful, right? I don't know if those receipts even exist, but I'm going to tune into this space because I'm hoping that they do, and I'm hoping that I'll hear something that will sway me one way or the other, as to whether KYC for Terra Classic is a good thing or not a good thing. We have it right now. We're about to get rid of it. Is it going to be like the tax where we're getting rid of it for a particular reason and that reason doesn't even work out either? So we just went again on another loop in another circle that wasn't necessary? I don't know. Guess we'll find out. All right, y'all. See you later, hopefully in the space. All right, ciao.